Ever wonder why half of all first-time landlords sell their properties within the first 18 months? It's not the tenants, the taxes, or even the market. It's a 4-digit number they never bothered to calculate. Imagine you're standing in front of your first rental property, keys in hand, mortgage approved. You've run the numbers 1,000 times, rent covers the mortgage, utilities, insurance, maybe even leaves a little cash flow. Then month 3 hits and the water heater explodes at 2 in the morning. Suddenly, you're staring at a $2,000 bill with nothing but crickets in your savings account. How much money should you actually keep in reserve before you call yourself a real estate investor? Is it 3 months of expenses, 6 months, or just enough to cover a broken dishwasher and pray nothing else goes wrong? Here's what the pros won't tell you at those weekend seminars. Your emergency fund isn't just a safety net, it's your entire business model. Without it, you're not investing, you're gambling with a mortgage. The moment something breaks, and trust me, everything breaks, you're either scrambling for a credit card or watching your investment turn into a financial black hole. Let's talk numbers, but the real ones, not the fantasy math from YouTube gurus. Most experts suggest holding at least 6 months of total expenses in reserve. That's mortgage, insurance, property taxes, and estimated maintenance, all bundled together. For a typical rental property, we're talking anywhere from $6,000 to $15,000 just sitting there doing nothing but waiting for disaster to strike. Sounds excessive, right? Like parking a small car's worth of cash in an account earning practically 0 interest. But here's the twist. That money isn't doing nothing. It's buying you something more valuable than returns. It's buying you sleep at night and the ability to make rational decisions when chaos inevitably arrives. Picture this. Your tenant calls on a Friday evening because the furnace died and it's 15 degrees outside. You've got 2 choices. Option 1, you've got the cash reserves, you call a repairman, you handle it like a professional, tenant stays happy, lease stays intact. Option 2, you're broke, you stall, you try to fix it yourself with a YouTube tutorial, tenant calls the city, suddenly you're facing fines and a potential lawsuit. The industry loves to romanticize passive income and mailbox money, but nobody mentions the unpassive emergencies. Roofs don't leak on schedule, pipes don't burst during business hours, and tenants definitely don't coordinate their maintenance requests around your payday. Here's where it gets interesting. The reserve amount isn't actually about the property, it's about you. How much financial pain can you absorb without panicking and making terrible decisions? Some investors can handle the stress with 3 months saved. Others need a full year to feel secure enough to think clearly. But wait, there's a darker layer to this whole calculation. The real reason most financial advisors push for 6 months isn't just about covering repairs, it's about covering vacancies. Your property sits empty for 2 months between tenants, and suddenly that beautiful cash flow you calculated turns into negative cash flow real quick. So you factor in vacancies, you factor in repairs, you factor in property management fees if you're smart enough to hire help. Add it all together, and your emergency fund starts looking less like a rainy day account and more like a legitimate cost of doing business. Yet somehow, the beginner investor guides conveniently skip this part. Here's the reality check. If you can't afford to hold 6 months of reserves, you probably can't afford to be a landlord yet. That's not pessimism, that's mathematics. Real estate investing isn't a side hustle you bootstrap with pocket change. It's a capital-intensive business that punishes the underprepared. Some say that's too conservative, that you're leaving money on the table by not leveraging every dollar into another property. Others argue 6 months isn't nearly enough in markets where contractors are booked 3 months out and supply chain issues turn a simple repair into a 6-week ordeal. Who's right? The answer, frustratingly, is both. The aggressive investors who stretch their reserves thin either get lucky and build empires, or they crash spectacularly and become cautionary tales in real estate forums. The conservative ones sleep better but grow slower, watching opportunities pass while sitting on piles of idle cash. As the market shifts and mortgage rates fluctuate, the strategies evolve too. Some landlords now keep separate reserves for different types of emergencies. One fund for major systems like HVAC and roofs, another for tenant turnover costs, and a third for legal issues. Because apparently, we live in a society where everything ends in litigation. Despite all the apps, property management software, and automated rent collection, the same old truth persists. Unexpected expenses are the only certainty in real estate. The technology changes, the reserves requirement doesn't. Your great-grandfather needed emergency funds for his rental properties, and so will your grandkids. Here's the final twist that nobody tells you until you're already in deep. The reserve fund never actually gets smaller. You use $3,000 for a roof repair, then you spend the next 6 months rebuilding it back up. It's a cycle, an endless loop of saving and spending and saving again. That money isn't yours, it belongs to the property. But here's what makes it all worthwhile. The investors who build proper reserves don't just survive, they thrive. When the market dips and desperate landlords start panic selling, the prepared investor with cash reserves becomes the buyer. Suddenly, that boring emergency fund transforms into opportunity capital. That's the game behind the balance sheet. You're not just saving for emergencies, you're building the financial cushion that lets you act like an investor instead of react like a victim. And if you're ready to find properties worth building that reserve for, head over to www.growthsense.com, where serious investors discover their next opportunity.